The ground of the outpost was cold and gray. Metal walls stood high like cages around the whole area. Alien soldiers of the Galactic Empire stood with weapons in hand. Their helmets hid their faces, but their voices were loud with laughter. In the middle of the path, two strong enforcers dragged a human woman by chains. Her face was bruised, blood on her lip, one eye nearly shut. Her uniform was torn, showing scars and burns. Her left leg was broken, dragging behind like dead weight. "Keep moving, human trash," one soldier growled. The other laughed. "She's just meat now. Why did they even bother bringing her back alive?" Aliens from different species stood around watching. Some were curious. Others were afraid. A young alien cadet whispered to his friend, "Who is she?" The answer came from a tall officer. He walked proudly, his armor shining, voice cold. "Just another failed human soldier. She resisted capture, so we broke her. Now she's a lesson." A loud cough came from the woman. It wasn't pain, it was amusement. They stopped walking. The officer looked back at her. "You find this funny, human?" The woman slowly looked up. Her one good eye glowed with something strange. Not fear, not pain, but a calm fire. Her lips moved slowly. Her voice was rough but clear. "Tell your emperor," she said, pausing. "Baba Yaga walks again." For a second there was silence. Total silence. The officer's eyes widened. One enforcer dropped his weapon by accident. What did she say?" The young cadet stepped back. "Baba Yaga? That's just a story." "No," whispered a guard. "No, it's not." The crowd began to step back. A cold wind passed through the open square. Even though it was artificial air, it felt real, like something ancient had entered the place. The officer shook his head and barked, "It's just a name, a myth humans use to scare children." But no one laughed anymore. The woman was still bleeding. She was still weak. But her smile made their hearts tremble. She didn't scream. She didn't beg. She just walked with chains on her hands and fire in her eyes. Inside the outpost prison, they locked her in a dark cell. Cameras watched every corner. Drones hovered above. 2 guards were posted outside her door. "She can't even stand," one said. "Why do they look so nervous?" The other replied, "Because they know the stories. The last time someone said Baba Yaga, an entire squad disappeared." "That was just war propaganda." He laughed nervously. Inside the cell, the woman sat on the floor. Her breathing was slow. Her hands were still tied in front of her. Blood dripped from her nose, but she didn't wipe it. Slowly, she tilted, her head back, and whispered a name under her breath. It wasn't clear. It wasn't loud. But somehow the lights in the cell flickered for a second. She leaned forward and smiled again. Then, carefully, she bit something inside her mouth. Something hidden in her teeth. A tiny click. Her chains loosened slightly. She waited. One of the guards opened the door to check on her. "You alive in there, ghost lady?" He stepped in. The door closed behind him. 1 minute passed, then 2. The second guard frowned. "Hey, Rook, you okay?" He tapped the door. No answer. Suddenly the camera feed inside the cell went black. Second guard pressed the alarm button. Nothing worked. Then the door opened slowly. A body fell out. It was Rook. Dead. His eyes wide open in fear. No sound. No struggle. The second guard turned to run, but it was too late. The woman stepped into the light, still limping, still bleeding, but holding a sharp metal shard in one hand. Her chains now dangled from her wrist like broken cuffs. She looked up at the security camera above the hallway, and she smiled. The screen in the control room went to static. Back in the command room, the officer stared at the black feed. He clenched his jaw. "Seal the floor, lock all exits, don't let her escape." But deep down, he knew something terrible had begun. The myth was not a myth. Baba Yaga was real, and she was angry. Red lights flashed across the prison level of the Empire's outpost. Sirens screamed. Soldiers ran through the metal corridors with their weapons raised. The officer from earlier, Commander Varn stood at the control panel, eyes locked on the broken screen. "Where is she?" he barked. "No visuals, sir," the technician replied. "She destroyed the cameras." Commander Varn slammed his fist on the console. "One injured human, injured, and you lost her." Another officer stepped forward. "Sir," she said the name. "Baba Yaga." The guards are shaken. Varn turned and pointed a finger at him. "It's just a name, just fear talking. There is no Baba Yaga." But in truth, even he wasn't sure anymore. Meanwhile, the woman moved like a ghost through the silent hallway. Blood still dripped from her leg, but she walked with purpose. Her eyes were sharp, her face calm. She dragged the broken chain in one hand. In the other, she held the guard's access key. She moved past the cameras, blinking red, then going dark. In the security center, a nervous junior officer whispered, "Sir, she's taking out our surveillance, one by one. It's like she knows where every camera is." "How?" Varn asked. "Maybe she's done this before." Someone answered quietly. Varn turned around slowly. "Explain." The man hesitated. Back in the early days of the war, there were stories. Humans who were not normal soldiers. Ghost operatives. Trained in black sites. No names, only code words. One of them, they called her Baba Yaga. Varn's voice was flat. "That's a bedtime story, meant to scare our troops from underestimating humans." "Sir," the junior officer said, "what if it wasn't just a story? In the lower levels, 2 Empire soldiers stood guard near the weapons room. Why would they send her here?" one asked. "Who knows? But if she's the Baba Yaga, we're screwed." "Come on," the other replied. "She's bleeding and half dead. We've got blasters. She's got nothing." A sound came from behind them. Both turned fast. Nothing. There, then a click, then a hiss, smoke. One choked. Gas? Too late. A shadow moved behind them. By the time backup arrived, they found the 2 guards knocked out, tied to the wall with their own belts. The weapons room? Empty. Back in the command room, an urgent message came through. "Commander." She broke into. "The armory." Varn froze. "What did she take?" The reply came slowly. "Not guns, sir. Just one knife." Everyone looked confused. Why would she take a knife when she could take blasters? Varn answered coldly, "Because a knife doesn't run out of ammo." Elsewhere in the outpost, more soldiers now avoided the halls. One even refused to go on patrol. "I won't walk those halls, not with her out there." "But you're armed," his officer said. "She's not a soldier, sir. She's a shadow. I saw what she did on the camera." She didn't fight. With rage, she fought with silence. Meanwhile, in a quiet lab on level 3, a young alien technician worked on a locked terminal. Suddenly, the lights flickered. He looked up. "System error?" Then came the cold voice behind him. "You work with bioscans?" The boy jumped and turned. She was standing behind him. The injured human. Bloody, limping, but steady. I... Please don't hurt me." "I won't," she said. "I need data. Prisoner files. Especially the humans." His hands shook. You're her." She stepped forward. "I'm the reason they fear the dark." He handed over the drive without a word. Before leaving, she looked at him once more. "Get out of here, now. The storm is coming." In the command center, alarms turned louder. She triggered a firewall breach. "She's copying files," Commander Varn shouted. "Shut down the system." "It's too late. She already has the data." Varn turned to his guards. "Double all patrols. Lock the exits. Bring the laser mechs online. I want her stopped." One of the guards nodded. "Yes, Commander, but what?" "She already left the prison section. She's inside the control wing." Everyone turned toward the hallway. The door was slightly open. The room fell silent. "Guns ready," Varn screamed. They aimed at the door, but no one entered. Instead, something rolled in. A grenade. Smoke filled the room. Screams followed. Shots fired. When the smoke cleared, She was gone again. Outside on the roof of the outpost, she crouched beside a vent. She looked at the stars above. Cold wind brushed her hair, her voice was low. They laughed when they chained me. Now they run when I whisper. She looked down. At the lights of the base, I told them, Baba Yaga walks again, and she disappeared into the night. The floor was painted in red, not by design, by blood. Empire enforcers, tough, trained, merciless, now lay silent across the corridor. Some were unconscious, some never to wake again. No gunfire, no alarms, just silence. She had moved like wind, fast, unseen, unforgiving. The injured woman was no longer just a prisoner, she was the storm. Inside a locked security office, 4 enforcers sat in terror. One clutched his rifle tightly. Sweat rolled down his alien skin. Did you hear what she did to Squad 9? He asked in a whisper. They had a full platoon. Another replied. She took them down in under 3 minutes. Not possible. The third snapped. She's injured. She has no armor. The youngest among them stared at the blood on his gloves. She doesn't need armor. She has fear. They heard a thud outside the door. All 4 turned silent. Another thud. Then, scraping, something sharp against metal. She's here, the youngest whispered. Hold positions, the leader barked. But before anyone could act, the lights went out. Darkness swallowed the room. Screams followed. Then nothing. Commander Varn stood at the central control hub, gripping the edge of the table. She's hunting us, he said. No. The tech officer muttered. She's cleansing the outpost. Another voice came from the back. It was High Strategist Yalor, a member of the Emperor's own war council. You fools let her escape? Yalor's eyes were wide. Do you know who she is? She's just a human, Varn began. Yalor slammed his fist down. No, that's not just a human. That's Unit 13 from Earth's Shadow Corps. You don't catch her. You survive her, if you're lucky. Varn's voice shook. She's one person. She's not a person anymore, Yalor whispered. She's a program, a legend, a warning. Down below, the woman moved through the air ducts, her legs still bleeding, but she didn't slow down. She remembered everything now. The mission, the betrayal, the pain. She had trusted her unit, trusted her leaders. They left her behind. But pain had awoken her. She was not just a soldier. She was the last of Earth's forgotten ghosts. She was Baba Yaga. A patrol of 6 guards marched through the hallway below. Report says she's near Sector 7, one said. Then we're going the other way. Another muttered. No. The leader snapped. We stop her. Here, no more games. They didn't notice the shadow above them until it dropped down. 2 guards went down before they screamed. The third turned and fired. Nothing hit. She moved too fast. Within seconds, only one was left, on his knees, shaking. She pressed the sharp edge of her blade to his chin. Do you bleed? She asked coldly. He nodded quickly. Then leave, or next time I won't be kind. He ran, left his weapon behind. She picked it up, looked at it, then threw it away. She didn't need their weapons. In the power core room, alarms began to trigger. She's cut power to all these sectors. She's collapsing our comm systems. Commander, she's everywhere. No, Varn growled. She's nowhere. And that's the problem. Yalor stepped forward again. We must evacuate. Varn refused. We still outnumber her. Count your numbers again, Yalor said grimly. The screen lit up with red X's, units marked as down, dead, or missing. 3/4 of the outpost was silent. No answers, no heartbeats, just red marks. In the detention zone, the woman reached a locked chamber. She hacked the panel and stepped in. Inside, chained to the wall, was a young alien girl. Thin, scared, barely alive. The girl looked up slowly. Her eyes widened. You remember me? The woman asked softly. The girl nodded. You were kind. Before they took you, I came back. No one ever comes back. I did. The girl reached out her small hand. The woman gently untied her. Can you walk? The girl shook her head. The woman picked her up. You're safe now. As they left the cell, the girl whispered, Who are you? She looked forward, her voice steady. I'm the shadow they tried to erase. As she walked into the corridor with the girl in her arms, more guards appeared at the end of the hallway. They raised their weapons. She didn't stop. One of them shouted, Stay where you are. She didn't answer. The moment their fingers touched the trigger, their weapons short-circuited. The hallway lights exploded, and she vanished into the smoke. Back in the command room, silence returned. A message appeared on the main screen. In red letters, Do not mock the dead, and when the dead can still kill. Baba Yaga dropped to his knees. She's not here for revenge, he whispered. She's here for judgment. The stars above the Empire outpost shined cold and distant, but deep underground memories came alive. Dark, sharp, and full of fire. She wasn't always like this. 5 years earlier, Earth's military had gathered its finest. In a dark underground base, only shadow operatives were allowed. No records. No names, only numbers. She was Unit 13. Her mission, infiltrate the Galactic Empire, discover their secret experiments on human captives, and disappear without a trace. No backup, no rescue, no failure, just vanish or die. She had accepted the mission with no hesitation. Her real name was forgotten. Her training was brutal. Weeks without sleep, days under freezing temperatures, months in simulated torture rooms. But she survived it all. No tears, no screams, only silence. She was made for war, but what they didn't expect was her heart. Back in the present, she carried the young alien girl through the dark halls. The girl was weak, shaking. Where are we going? Someplace safe. The girl whispered, Why are you helping me? I'm not human. The woman stopped walking. She looked down at the child. Her voice was soft. Pain doesn't care what species you are, and neither do I. Inside the Empire's core lab, Commander Varn watched the surveillance feed. What little was left. She saved that alien girl, a tech officer said. Why? Varn snapped. What's the purpose? Yaelor, the strategist, stared at the screen. You don't understand. She's not just fighting us. She's finishing her mission. Varn turned. What mission? Yaelor opened a hidden file on a secure tablet. 5 years ago, Earth sent someone to expose our illegal research labs. We caught her. Thought she died under torture. He paused. But she didn't die. She woke up. Back then, she was captured during an intel run, dragged into the Empire's secret lab on the outer moons. They called it Project Silence. There, they tested how much pain a human mind could take before breaking. They tried breaking her, but they failed. She didn't scream. She didn't beg. She remembered, and she planned. Every beating, every injection, every dark day. She turned into a map of revenge. Now, she found a sealed door. Level 9. Behind it, she knew, were the files. The truth. The names of everyone involved in Project Silence. She laid the alien girl down gently behind. A crate. Stay hidden, no matter what you hear. The girl gripped her hand. Please come back. I will. Inside the lab, white lights flickered over steel tables. Strange machines whirred and hissed. Aliens in lab coats froze as the door exploded inward. Smoke poured in. She stepped through, blade in hand, eyes like fire. The lead scientist gasped. No, it can't be. Hello again, she said quietly. He dropped the tablet. You were supposed to be dead. She walked closer. So were the others. The ones you cut open. The ones you called test subjects. We were just following orders. He cried. She didn't blink. So am I. The power cut out. Only emergency lights remained. Seconds later, screams filled the lab. She walked out alone. She returned to the girl and picked her up. The child looked into her eyes. "You came back." "Always," she whispered. Behind her, the lab exploded. Files, computers, everything. Gone. She had erased their secrets. But one name remained in her memory. Emperor Kalis. The one who signed the order. The one who started it all. Meanwhile, news spread across the outpost. She's not here to escape. She's here to finish something. She's the last ghost of Earth. Enforcers locked themselves inside rooms. Alarms rang, but no one answered. The name Baba Yaga became a curse. In the control center, Yalor stood frozen. "She's done it. She's destroyed the entire lab. We've lost everything." Commander Varn shook. "What now?" "She'll come for us," Yalor said. "She always does, one by one." Back on the rooftop, wind blew across her face. She looked up at the sky. Earth was somewhere far away, but the mission still burned in her blood. She turned to the girl beside her. "We're leaving this place." And then, she looked at the Empire banners blowing in the wind. "Then I'm going to end it." Smoke rose from the broken labs of the Empire's outpost. Walls cracked, alarms wailed, emergency lights flickered like dying stars, and in the silence between the chaos, only one name echoed across every soldier's mind. Baba Yaga, Commander Varn, stood inside the main war room, helmet off, sweat rolling down his face. He stared at the shaking hands of his own men, soldiers, armed, armored, trained, now whispered like frightened children. She was in Sector 9. No. Now she's in the ventilation system. She carries a child. A child? Maybe the girl is her weapon. Maybe she's not human either. Varn shouted, "Enough! She is just a human, an injured one." But even his voice lacked power, now. Across the outpost, Baba Yaga moved like a ghost through broken corridors. The alien child clung to her side, covered in a light cloak. They passed a hallway filled with blood and fear. Doors wide open, weapons scattered. No resistance left. The outpost had become a graveyard, without even a war. In the sky above, a dropship descended. It was black, heavy, and marked with the Emperor's golden symbol. Inside stood a massive war machine, the Titan-class Hunter mech. Its pilot, General Garin, smiled coldly. "They told me the Baba Yaga was just a tale. I'm here to end that fairy tale." On the roof of the outpost, Baba Yaga stopped. She looked at the clouds. She could feel it coming. Engines humming, pressure shifting, a storm in metal. She turned to the girl. "Hide, stay low. Do not move unless I come back." The girl wanted to argue but nodded. Her eyes trusted the shadow that saved her. The dropship landed hard. Dust flew. The ground cracked. Out stepped the mech, taller than a house, made of black steel and red eyes. Soldiers gathered behind it, thinking they were safe again. General Garin activated his loudspeaker. "Human, this is your final chance. Come out and kneel. You are surrounded." No answer. He scanned the area. Heat signatures. None. Movement. None. Then something blinked on his screen. "Behind you." He turned. Too late. Grenade exploded on the side of the mech. It wasn't meant to destroy, just blind. Smoke filled the area. Then she came, running straight toward the giant machine with nothing but a knife and fire in her eyes. The crowd gasped. "She's insane. She's going to die." But the mech's systems blinked again. Systems. Error. Blade override. Another message appeared inside the cockpit. "I trained with machines like you, before you were even built." Garin screamed and tried to activate the weapons, but the mech's left leg suddenly locked. Baba Yaga had already planted a virus chip. The mech staggered, and that's when she leapt, straight onto its chest. Using her knife, she slashed through the armor panel. Sparks flew. She tore into its control nerves like she was peeling fruit. Garin tried shaking her off, but she didn't fall. She found the core panel, pulled a cord from her belt and shoved it deep inside. She whispered, "Good night, monster." She jumped, off, and then, boom. The mech exploded in midair, torn apart from the inside. Soldiers ran. Some dropped their guns. Others screamed. She killed a Titan mech with a wire and a knife. Dust covered the sky. The outpost shook. When the smoke cleared, she walked out of it, limping, bleeding again, but alive. Her eyes locked with every soldier left. No one moved. No one dared. She stood still for a moment, then pointed toward the main command tower. "I'm coming for your master next." In the war room, Varn fell back into his chair. "She just took down a Titan." Yalor muttered, "She's not human anymore. She's history made flesh." Varn looked at the shattered monitor, still flickering, from static. "We tried to break her." Yalor finished the sentence for him. "But instead we made her." As night fell, the alien child stood beside her savior. The girl asked softly, "Are we safe now?" Baba Yaga looked toward the stars. "No, not yet." "Where will we go?" "To the one who gave the order, the one who started all this." She picked up a blaster from the battlefield, checked its charge, and nodded. "Next stop, the Emperor." Far away from the burning outpost, in the heart of the Galactic Empire, the capital planet Zeracon Prime shined like a jewel in the dark. Inside, the Grand Citadel, walls of golden stone stood tall. Thousands of guards patrolled the halls. Cameras watched every corner. Nothing ever got past the palace. Nothing, until now. Inside the Emperor's throne chamber, Emperor Kalis sat on his high seat. His robes were clean, his hands covered in jeweled rings. He ruled thousands of planets. His voice alone started wars. But this morning, his voice was silent. He stared at the hollow screen in front of him, eyes wide. The image showed burning wreckage, screaming soldiers, a shattered mech, single human woman walking out of the flames, Baba Yaga. His advisors stood nearby, frozen. One spoke. "My Emperor. The Earth Operative, she survived Project Silence. She destroyed the entire base." Another added, "We believe she's coming here. For you." Kalis turned slowly. "She was supposed to be erased." "Yes, Your Grace, but she wasn't. And now, she wants the truth." Kalis stood up, voice trembling with hidden rage. "Send the Black Guard. Activate all planetary defenses. I want shields raised. No ships in or out." "And if she still comes?" someone asked. He didn't answer, because deep down the Emperor remembered the rumors. Not military reports. Whispers. Whispers from his own elite hunters. The ones who vanished after encountering her. The name that even assassins feared. Baba Yaga. Back. In space, a stolen ship streaked through the stars. Baba Yaga sat in the cockpit, piloting with one hand while the alien child slept beside her. She checked the coordinates. Zeracon Prime. The heart of the Empire. The final target. "Are you scared?" came a small voice from behind. She looked at the child in the chair, wrapped in a warm blanket. "No." "Why not? They have an army." She glanced ahead, eyes like steel. "Because armies follow fear. I follow purpose." The child nodded slowly. "Will you stop after this?" She didn't reply, because the truth was, there was no stopping, not until the last piece of the puzzle was broken. Meanwhile, back on Zeracon Prime, panic spread. Elite commanders held emergency meetings, towers locked. Down, spy satellites scanned every sector of space, yet no one could find her, until it was too late. At midnight, a ship entered the system. It had no ID, no beacon, no broadcast, just a single transmission. The message played across every screen on the planet. "You tried to silence me. You failed. You hurt the innocent. Now I bring your silence." Baba Yaga. The Empire's citizens woke to the sound of sirens. The palace guards tightened their formations. And in the Emperor's private room, Kalis whispered to himself, "She was never a myth." Was she? In a hidden vault beneath the city, Kalis opened a secure locker. Inside, an old Earth file. It showed a photo of a woman in uniform, younger but with the same eyes. Cold. Focused. Alone. Under it, Unit 13. Status. Erased. He stared at it for a long time. She should never have come back, but she had. And she was close. Outside the city walls, in the shadows of the mountain ridge, Baba Yaga crouched in the dark. Her eyes scanned the walls. Her hand gripped the blade on her thigh. The child slept safely in the ship behind her, hidden deep in the canyon. She looked at the glowing city, at the seat of all her pain. And she whispered, "You trained me to be the perfect ghost. Now watch your empire die in silence." Night had fallen over Zericon Prime, but it wasn't peace. It was the calm before the storm. Above the glowing city, storm clouds gathered like ghosts. Thunder rolled across the sky, and in the shadows beneath the palace walls, she waited. Baba Yaga watched the golden spires of the Emperor's citadel. Lights flickered across its towers. Giant statues of Empire heroes lined the walkways. But all the power, all the pride, could not hide their fear now. She placed a small earpiece in her ear. Inside the ship, the alien child's voice whispered, "Are you sure? Yes? Will you come back?" Baba Yaga smiled softly. "If I don't, you already know what to do." A pause. "Tell the truth." Then she stepped into the storm. Security drones scanned the walls. Soldiers guarded every gate, laser turrets, watched every rooftop, but they were too late. They weren't ready for her. She slipped past guards like smoke in wind, took down turrets with silent wires, sliced through cameras without alarms. Every step she took, the old training woke up deeper inside her. This wasn't revenge, this was justice. Inside the throne chamber, Emperor Kalis stood in front of a massive screen. A red warning flashed across it. "Intruder in the inner sector." "She's here," he whispered. The guards surrounded him, but they were already trembling. Then, the great doors exploded. Smoke poured in. And from the smoke, she walked, bloody, tired, wounded, but walking like death itself. The guards raised their weapons, but no one fired. They had all heard the stories of the human ghost, the shadow of Earth, the one they called Baba Yaga. Kalis stepped back. "You can't win this, you're one woman." She threw a file at his feet. It slid across the floor, his own sealed order from 5 years ago. Project Silence. Approval signature. Emperor Kalis. "I don't need to win," she said. "I just need to end you." The Emperor reached for a hidden blaster, too slow. She threw a blade. It struck the weapon from his hand. He fell back, gasping. "Please, you don't understand." "I understand perfectly," she said coldly. "You built an empire from broken lives. You'll become a villain to them." She stepped forward. "I was never their hero." He reached for a second gun, but this time she was already behind him. A quiet sound, a flash of light, and he dropped, still alive, but defeated. She turned to the cameras, the palace system still recording. She looked into the lens. "This is not about revenge," she said calmly. "This is about truth. The empire hurts the weak, kills the forgotten, buries them in silence." Her voice grew stronger. "But I am the voice they couldn't erase. I am the memory they tried to burn. I am Baba Yaga, and I will always return." The next morning, the entire galaxy woke to a new broadcast, not from the empire, from her, every screen. Every world, every corner of space. Her message played, and the people listened. Some cried, some rose up, and some, those in power, trembled, because now the name Baba Yaga didn't just mean fear, it meant hope. Some say she vanished after that night. Others say she walks among us, watching, waiting. The empire fell slowly, its roots rotted by the truth she uncovered. And the alien girl, she lived, she grew, she became a leader. And every time someone asked how it all changed, she simply smiled and said, "A shadow came in the night and gave the galaxy its voice back."